5-second delay.
Greetings and welcome back to Switch to Linux with another supporter stream. I completely forgot to do the banner again, so anyway, I'll fix that. How's it going, Dan? Well, I fixed the banner, and I forgot to turn the fan off too.
It's going okay.
All right, keep us entertained for a moment, and while I work on the banner here. So let's see. Tech may jump on. He said he may be here, but he's maybe running a little bit late. I was expecting Mark. He should jump on soon. I have no idea where Solbu is.
Yes.
Solbu's never late. Solbu's usually waiting
usually
before I
here.
am. Although maybe he thought we might not be streaming today, but I'm almost back to a regular schedule now. So
Well, that's cool.
we're getting there. I'll explain all of the fun stuff here in a minute when my brain is stopped focused on this. I think I spelled philosophy right. Good, that looks correct. Let's see if that fixes it. Bing! That worked. Awesome. And let me go ahead and turn off, or at least turn down, the fan. All right. All right, there we are. Sorry about that. I forgot to turn that off. We are recording, broadcasting, I should say, live from an undisclosed location in the middle of nowhere. And unfortunately, I messed up the Jitsi thing for you, Dan. Let me... No, not the intro again. My Lord. We're having all sorts of technical difficulties.
It says Gnome philosophy at the bottom.
No, but what happened is when I clicked down the thing, it messed up our Jitsi screen view and maximized it, so all I see is the very tip of your microphone. So
yeah, on the top of my back door. Yeah. And now you're restarting.
Yeah. Whoops, that was the restarting was a whoopsie. And we're almost there. Come on. Oh boy.
Just a little push. Your lighting looks pretty good.
Yeah. I think the lighting did a lot better. How is the microphone? I know. Some new person to the channel gave unsolicited advice about I should work on some things on the channel. It's like, did you not listen to the video? Because I said at the very beginning, sorry for the weird lighting. It was odd. I recorded that video. It was like 95 degrees in here, but I couldn't open the doors because of where we were at, and the sun was beating in, and it was insane. And so kind of weird. And now I'm getting some YouTube error. YouTube's not receiving enough data for smooth streaming. Interesting. Maybe is this setting should be set to try and push at 720p, not 1080p. I don't know. Maybe there's some error on this.
It looks good on my side. Let me check YouTube, see what I'm getting. It says I'm receiving it at 720p.
Okay, I'll up the, I'll up the bandwidth just a little bit because I actually can now with the new data plan. I don't want to go a ton more, but I can go a little bit higher. But I'm actually getting errors for the first time. I've been streaming at 720 for a while, and I've never gotten the errors that YouTube's not receiving as much data. Interesting. Well, we should be good. Well,
it seems that my audio is a little louder on YouTube than yours.
Let me check that. Let me bump that down a little bit. All right, there we are. Yeah, I had to adjust my sound settings a little bit as well to get our sound settings back up. So
okay, I'm cutting the YouTube audio so I can talk to you.
All right. So let's see. And what else we got? All right, YouTube. Now where are you having settings at? All right, stream settings. Default stream key. Stream health. And let's see. I was trying to see if it was like OBS, but it's not. I don't know. It should be fine. It just hasn't recovered yet. Although it's pushing out less bandwidth than it should be right now, which is weird. So, I'm going to double check the settings once more. I did have issues yesterday where Verizon was like, I had reset on Friday. I'd reset the bandwidth max to 150, but it was back down to 30 yesterday. And so I tried to reset it again, and it had issues and things like that. So I don't know. So let's have I'm going to do something I shouldn't be doing, but I'm going to do an internet speed test while we're streaming. That'll suck. Bear with me one more minute. We're going to get that last little bug out. We were fine, except I was in weird places today where I was only pulling 3G in some places. Oh, I'm pulling 50 Mbps right now in the middle of nowhere. All right. I don't know what's up. Maybe OBS just is not pushing out. Like OBS, I upped my bit rate to 3000, and it's still only pushing out at 21 for some reason. Oh well. We will carry on. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I said something wrong. My apologies. Let's see if that does it. There we are. That did it.
All right.
Hopefully the error is out. All right, let me get to the comments. Like I said, we'll see if Mark said he prepared and might show up. Tech was not sure if he'd show up. I have no idea where Selby was. Selby, where are you? You're usually waiting for me.
Yeah, we haven't seen our resident doctor in a while.
Yeah. He's like super busy with a lot of weird stuff. We'll email every now and again.
Yeah, now when I'm talking, it boomerangs through.
Yeah, there you go. All right, so go look up Toby Bernard Gnome Part 4. Yes, that's what we are looking at. So annoying things about Gnome, same for XFCE and Mate, is when I move the mouse pointer to the far corner of the maximize window to close it, the pointer bypasses the close button. Don't have the issue on KDE and Cinnamon, nor on Deepin. Jack Gnome is my favorite. I'm not a communist, though. I don't... I guess, are you referring to the like the fist thing on the top of the article? Let me just show you guys the article real quick. So here's the article we're going to be looking at directly from the Gnome blog. Community Power Part 4, The Gnome Way. Talk about the philosophy, and we're going to chat about that. It reset the thing again on the article view. We're just having all sorts of technical difficulties today. Thank you for bearing with us as we figure out our technical difficulties.
Nothing a few wire nuts can't fix.
Hey, around here, it's duct tape and 3M tape and a little bit of Velcro.
And some 4M tape.
Yeah, 4M tape. There you go. No, I got my HDMI switcher I have Velcro screwed to the board and 3M taped to the back of the HDMI switcher. It almost holds. All right, there we are. Now we're set.
Okay.
Well, I switched to Zorin at Light XFC edition from Ubuntu Gnome. It works much faster, and you don't have to you don't have for apps to start up. Much better experience. Zorin OS Lite does not have pre-installed Snap. Microsoft has deleted some negative comments about Windows. I believe that some of that is in our weekly news roundup this week. Had a laugh at Gnome devs saying that KDE is resource hungry, has less features than Gnome, and not as flexible or customizable as Gnome. I'll set Ubuntu and Pop! OS are breaking Gnome. I think Pop! OS works better, honestly.
A lot of people are saying that.
Ubuntu? I think it looks better.
The Pop! OS is a better experience.
I do. I think Pop! OS, the things that Pop! OS has done to Gnome are a much better experience. Yo, Luis, how's it going there? Hello from Brazil. Vacuum cleaner reviews. Anyone here know how to use a money wallet app from F-Droid? I do not. Sorry. I keep money and phones as far away from each other as possible. Everything looks good. How do we sound? Do we sound good? Hello, Tom. Everyone else, how are you doing? Andrea's on, developer of Gnome, said that Gnome is not focused in user, but in innovation. It sounds a little strange, I think. That is a recipe for not doing well. We're going to create our platform to not be focused on user. That is why Gnome kind of sucks. If I'm being honest.
And then they turn around in the article and they tell you that normal desktops are dead.
Yeah, we'll get into the article itself and the various commentaries on it.
The
Um,
traditional desktop.
am I still on the road? Well, we'll put it this way, Jack. I don't have a house anymore, so yeah, I'm on the road. Now, I will say I kind of want to get into the topic here, but the first couple of days of this, like, I ended up with I ended up being like really sick. It wasn't the coof actually. I had a bacterial sinus infection, and I was pretty sure that's what it was. But I did some Sudafed, and it's like didn't do anything. Now you have to understand, for me to take medications at all is odd, and so I'm like, well, let's try some of that, and it's like really and so I end up going out and getting an antibiotic instead. After one day on the antibiotic, I'm like off of everything else except doctor says like use some probiotics because this is a really potent one. So I'm taking probiotics as well. And I'm thinking maybe this weekend I'm going to actually pick up breakfast cereal, which I don't usually drink, and I'm going to go down and get some more raw milk and get some raw milk and breakfast cereal. If you agree with the GNOME workflow is the best and you cannot go back traditional, but I see it's not for everybody. Yes, yes. Not seen Quint in a while either. Yeah, I don't know where Quint is. Quint, where are you? He's probably like, Quint just moved up to like the 17 age and such, and so working on, he was doing an internship, and just a lot of the beginnings of life is starting to happen. So
he discovered girls,
or he discovered girls, one of the two. I'm not sure. If Quint shows up, then he can go ahead and let us know one way or the other. Was it girls or was it life or whatever else? So anyway, Quint, you are missed. Welcome back anytime, buddy. Another stylization of the well-known raised fist logo. Yeah. Never mind. I go there. All right, let's go ahead and have a look at the article for a bit. And so here, this is, I guess, part 4 of an article looking at a lot of different things. And this one looked at the values and principles, or as I titled in the stream, the philosophy of Gnome. And this is kind of what we wanted to discuss. And they start out here saying that there's a few other places. First, let's go ahead and get this out of the way. Is it GNOME or GNOME? And I use kind of both of them interchangeably. It was GNOME, because it's a operating system for GNU. And if you ask, Stallman or anybody else, it's GNU, it's nothing else. But since, it is spelled the exact same way, is a little thing with a pointy hat, pronounced gnome with a silent G, that also collected on. So if you look at the official statement, they say either one is acceptable.
Well, they always,
although originally it was GNOME.
They back that up with a gnome foot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well,
as their logo. I will never call them GNOME. I'll always refer them as GNOME.
Okay,
because
and I'm okay either way. Yep.
Because back in the early days of Linux, that's what all I heard. I never heard of this GNU stuff, GNOME.
Yeah. So I guess that's that. Now, the why. What is the motivation? Well, we believe in software freedom as an inclusive, accountable model for producing technology in the commons. Okay, so I can completely get on board with that statement, right? Software freedom. It should be inclusive. In other words, anybody should be able to use it. I don't like the way the word inclusive is used these days, and obviously the GNOME Foundation has some intersection with some of those crowds. We're not here to debate that today, but using the more broader sense of inclusive, meaning anybody can use it, I'm completely on board with that. I don't want to restrict anybody, no matter what their philosophical, political, or religious, or racial backgrounds happen to be. Software should be for everybody for whatever purpose they see fit within, of course, the scope of legal discourse in life. I really don't want them to be using the software to breach into our banking institutions and such. But that being said, it should be there. Are we on board with that one, Dan?
Yeah, we're pretty much on board with that one. If you can use it and it works great for you, that's awesome. Everybody's got different tastes, different setups, and everything else. And some people are more familiar with how some things work than others. So yeah, I think it's pretty good that it's software freedom that is inclusive.
Mm-hmm. Software is built to be usable by everyone. We care deeply about user experience. I completely disagree that they agree with that they care deeply about user experience, because later on, as Dan has said, they actually said, no, we're not caring about user experience. We're caring about other things.
Yeah.
I care about user experience, but I don't think GNOME does as much as they're saying they do here. They care about accessibility. You can see that in that they do have accessibilities on the login screens, and accessibility is in there. Internationalization, I see that. Support for a diverse range of hardware. I don't know. Maybe I guess if you're talking about a diverse range of new hardware, meaning phones and tablets and things like
Yeah,
that,
like the Ubuntu
absolutely.
Touch phone.
Absolutely. Posh is based on GNOME, and I think that that's, it's fine and it works well. And it does actually work well. When I still had the Pine tab was still surviving, then yeah, actually that's exactly the thing is I used Posh because it worked. Plasma Mobile, I wanted to use it the most, it just didn't work. And so I can agree with that. Now, if you mean diverse range of hardware, meaning my old stuff, no. So it depends on your definition, and I believe that they're meaning here new emerging hardware under different platforms, desktops and tablets and phones and things like that. So I can get behind that, right? All right. Blink twice if you're alive, right?
Yeah.
And then software should be structurally and aesthetically elegant. Again, they say this in their why, but they actually bash on making themes and stylistic stuff later on in the article, so it didn't make sense to me, both in terms
Yeah.
of underlying technology and user interface.
Yeah, they do say that the theming is a problem.
Yeah, so 2 out of the 3 of their why they actually seem to support in their article here. The bottom 2, though, they go out of their way to talk about how it's not about usable by everybody. It's about a modern philosophy and things like that. So the what are worth pursuing? So what are the important things, and what kind of things should be avoided? So third-party apps are the best abstraction to extend the core systems with an additional functionality. This is why we put a huge amount of work into empowering third-party app developers to build more and better apps. Now, they talk later that this does not mean extensions. Did you catch that part?
Yeah.
So they basically are building an operating system that is crippled at its core. It doesn't have a lot of the basic features that a lot of people have come to expect, because their philosophy says the traditional desktop is dead. That's like, who is running around saying passwords are dead? Only the people that want to kill them. Just a thought.
The traditional desktop is dead as they're pulling that away from the Windows 11 platform and how it's now laid out. So they do talk either in this article or the other article, the Windows 95, 98 error is kind of finished.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the new norm.
So I guess that's probably only valid across generational lines, right? Because, like, as I was talking to Pizza, he absolutely loves GNOME because it matches the smartphones and the tablets in that general style of use. And because of that, it's more intuitive. Knowing how it's put together is more intuitive to that younger generation. To us old people, we don't want to go near tablets and smartphones most of the time. And for us, we want that traditional style layout. I use my desktop. I don't want to turn it on and see nothing but a pretty picture, and I have to go into menus to open stuff up. That's a waste of time to me. I want to have everything I'm actively working on the desktop, just like the desktop here. Everything that's important, is quickly accessible. I need to charge phones like every day. So, the phone cable is here, but if I need something else more obscure, it's buried within this closet over here. I can get to all the stuff, but that's like digging through the files on the computer. I don't want to dig through the files to find the projects I'm actively working on. I want to work on it on the desktop. And that's something that they have forgotten about. I think we probably said too much about that because it's somewhere
Yeah,
else.
Toss was telling me that they dropped the drag and drop feature out of Nautilus as well, and that kind of made him upset.
You can't drag and drop in Nautilus anymore.
No.
My God, Nautilus was already horrible. It was already like the
It,
worst file
it,
manager in the world.
I agree. It did very little as far as letting you get in and play with anything.
Yeah, I'm actually a little frustrated with Plasma even because if I'm gonna drag and drop files over, you can't just drag and drop. It's like drag and drop file. Do you want to move it or copy it?
Yeah.
Really? Every file I'm moving, you want to ask me the same stupid question. Why don't you do what every other logical thing does? If it's within the same drive, move it. If it's on a different drive, copy it. That's what everybody else does. Do that as a default. And if I need to do something different, I have the options. Anyway, every preference has a cost. Now, this is, I think, they underline this in the article because it raises some of these questions about. Basically, these are some of the things that cause it to be a little bit more out there, maybe a little bit more controversial. This cost rises exponentially as you add more preferences. This is why we avoid preferences as much as possible and focus on fixing the underlying problems instead. So they want to fix the underlying problems, but they don't want to. They they don't want to focus on all of the different preferences. This honestly to me makes sense. I like this approach. As long as there's ways to extend it and build it, that's fine. I don't like it when the desktop has so many options you can get lost. This is why I'm not as a huge a fan of Plasma as I used to be, because there are too many settings.
Yeah,
And
it's
also,
nuts.
yeah, and if there's too many preferences and too many things, then that focuses on, that raises problems setting it up. But on the flip side, you can't strip everything out of it because you also make it likewise unusable. Like dragging and dropping icons. So like let's fix the underlying problems. Hey, I got a great way to solve the problems of not dragging and dropping the icons correctly. Let's just remove the ability to drag and drop icons. What moron signed up on this?
Yeah.
Anyway, and I'm not completely hating GNOME. I should say that at the forefront here. I don't think it's the worst operating or the worst desktop environment. It's just a little right now. It's just
And he could be using an interim Ubuntu version rather than an LTS as well. And that's
that's
kind of
possible.
what ticked him off the most.
Yeah, apparently.
Now, this preference here and underlying problems, this is kind of goes with putting the horse behind the cart. What they're trying to say here, I believe, is they want to fix the underlying problems first before adding any other thing to their project.
Mm-hmm.
So if they got underlying problems and issues, they get priority attention before anybody's wants or things are taken into consideration.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the best way to get rid of a problem is just to remove the thing causing it, and then you just removed your operating system.
Yeah.
There's a direct relationship between how vertically integrated a product is and how cohesive you can make it. Every unnecessary variable you eliminate across a stack frees up time and energy, creates opportunities for features you couldn't otherwise build. So pulling out features, and then of course, now again, we mentioned they don't like people adding the extensions as much as they want people to do apps. So let's have the calendar app instead of an extension to add a calendar, is I think what they're getting at. So, and then people's attention is precious. We pride ourselves on being distraction free. Good luck.
Yeah, somewhere in all this too, they speak about a lot of the extensions are stuff that they actually cut out of GNOME from the
Mm-hmm.
past.
Yeah.
And it just gives you the ability to, reattach them and use them. Well,
Mm-hmm.
GNOME is getting to the point where they've added so much to it and upgraded it so much where they can't use it, they can't go back, so they have to use
Mm-hmm.
apps to actually make it work.
Yeah, and the problem is that the extensions don't work as well. Take desktop icons. There's extensions that add desktop icons onto GNOME, but it is extraordinarily buggy. It's very gaudy. It doesn't work well. It's buggy. It just doesn't work. I mean, this is why I like Cinnamon. It's exactly what I need. I need desktop icons. I don't want to fight about it. Things like that.
Cinnamon is actually very simple, as
It
far as
is.
things. I mean, it and Mate are probably one of the simplest things with settings and everything to deal with.
All right, before we get into the how, let's jump in on some comments. I see Mark fell asleep. All right, that's what happened. Mark. And now he's eating, so I don't know. We might see Mark jump in. Mr. Tech Guy actually likes GNOME, but consumes too much RAM and makes the system too bloated. It's like that chili I ate. At least XFCE is better than GNOME since it's speedy and does not consume the RAM. Well, the modern GNOME, though, is getting a lot better on RAM usage, I can say. So that was certainly a valid thing. I'm not sure it's as valid now as it was.
They have to do something with it to pack it in a phone.
Yeah. Most Linux desktops are pretty much the same these days. Maybe. I actually find enough variability between them, though, but I don't know. Moonbase Alpha Grace, take me to your leader. Roger is on a long-term mission, but you can see his little buddy up there. This is Sammy the alien. He's up there, so... Ubuntu has some weird screensavers. That's one of the things I hate. Cinnamon pulled out the screensavers. I like my screensavers, but you don't need a screensaver anymore, dude. It's not about needing a screensaver. It's about when the computer goes into sleep and it does a little pattern design. You stare at it for a little bit and relax. I want my screensaver back.
I'd rather just have my monitor shut off.
Yeah. Use what's best for you is the best philosophy. I agree. Benjamin Aldrich, greetings. I don't actually mind GNOME 40. I lived in it for a little while just out of curiosity. It was okay. Password's joke. Apparently beef stew can't be used as a password because it's not stroganoff. Okay. Nautilus need to be special. Must have strong and complicated passwords like DT. That's right. I can still drag and drop on Nautilus 40.2. Was TOS, I guess maybe that was an interim different thing. I don't know. I haven't played with GNOME for a few versions.
No, he said he no longer could use Ubuntu because of Nautilus ticked him off. Because he couldn't move his files around.
What's he moved back to?
He has a machine with Ubuntu Mate on it. I think he was playing around.
All right, let's see. Benjamin liked GNOME 2. They could have gone a completely different direction. Seems they just ripped a ton of features out and called it progress. Did they hide my comment below on it? I don't know. Yeah, I mean, if you want GNOME 2, that's really what Mate is. In fact, what is it? The Linux Experiment did a video the other day, even arguing Mate is not even a real desktop anymore, I believe. Not sure I completely agree, but...
Yeah, it is. I have it installed on a laptop. You actually install Mate tweaks, you can get a bunch of different desktop configurations. Redmond makes it look like Windows 98.
Yeah, his point was that it doesn't have its own software manager, a GUI software manager, and a few
Yes,
other
it does.
applications.
It's called the Software Boutique.
Does it actually come pre-installed on anything?
Yes, it comes installed on Mate. Their software managers.
I have almost never found a distribution of Mate.
It looks like a coat hanger, a green coat hanger.
I know what it is. I've always had to manually install it. That's the problem. Although I can say I don't download a lot of Mate distributions. I'm not a huge fan of Mate, so.
It works best on Ubuntu. If you put it on anything else, it's kind of not complete.
Yeah. Was it an Ubuntu? Then maybe Ubuntu did something. Okay. Yeah. I will wish Roger luck for you. I should be seeing him tomorrow. He's just going to stop back on Earth for just a day or two. I have to go out to like, I don't know, like Devil's Tower or something and meet the spaceship. I don't know. Let's see. Recently configured Qtile. Have the light of tiling windows. Being on Zorin Light Edition feels like being on home. Simple to get the job done. There you go. Linux Experiment said it. Matei is incomplete, but he was on Fedora. He's still doing a new video for the Ubuntu flavor. Okay. Ubuntu Matei. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So Farron says that Boutique is part of Ubuntu Matei, not part of Matei. Boutique is part, but you always have to add the universe repository. Okay. Yeah, Matei lacks an ecosystem of applications. Yeah, there's not a lot of little applications. So like Linux Mint has its own little suite of basic applications. That's right. Thank you for jogging my memory on that. It doesn't have its own video player, its own audio player, so you just have to install, extra things which can bring in a more janky look to the desktop. I'm not okay. I can understand. I don't necessarily look for all of those features to be a complete desktop,
most
but,
experienced
whatever.
users rip out what they don't like and install what they really like.
Yeah, I mean, I generally install VLC on any distro simply because it has a lot of the extra things that in the event I need something, I have it.
Yeah, and then VLC, if you install the DVD plugins and stuff like that, it's the only Linux distro app I found that will actually play DVDs.
Yeah. Rue79X says Matei does not have software app by default. It is put in by the distro, not the desktop. And that is what Linux Experiment's idea was, yes. Boutique part of the Ubuntu Matei. Yes, but I don't know if it's a snap these days. I have no idea. Anyway, let's jump back to the article. Let's get down to the how. Useful rules of thumb about how we go around to make things. All right. We don't do hacks. Rather, we just pull everything out. No, wait. Rather than working around a problem with the wrong layer of abstraction, we believe in going to the root of the problem and fixing it for everyone, even if that means digging into the lower layers and ends up being far more difficult as a result. I mean, if that's what they're doing, I'm behind that. Absolutely.
That's what they have to do to make GNOME a lighter desktop.
Yeah. I'm just wondering if they actually do that, if they have said that in paper, but let's assume that they do that. Although that might be like, we can't figure out how to get basic things working. Let's pull it out. I think that's part of the problem. We see design holistically rather than an isolated thing. The design team does. It's not just about functionality and aesthetics, also underlying technology and what to build in the first place. Even if you're not contributing to the design team, developing an affinity for design will make you a more effective contributor. So again, they're talking about design here. Let's see if I can find this spot down here at the bottom. In practice, system-wide theming is a broken idea. If you don't like the way apps look, contribute directly or to the platform style. Not everybody can do that. But you can see how their practice is kind of contradicting their theory. It reminds me in a way like the American churches. To get into the Christian world, American churches are 4-point Calvinist on their doctrinal statements and 5-point Arminianist in practice. That's what it feels like. Would you agree to that? They see design holistically rather than an isolated thing. The design team does. Not just about functionality and aesthetics, but about underlying technology, what to build in the first place. Even if you're not contributing on the design team, developing an affinity for design will make you a more effective contributor. And then later they basically say design style is
It's a bunch of tongue twisting.
Yeah. Looking at relevant art is important, but simply copying the competition doesn't usually produce great results. I have a proud history of inventing new paradigms and are better than the status quo. Okay, we can have a discussion whether we think it's better or not, but I 1001% agree that they're not copying anybody. And I love it. That's the greatest thing about GNOME is it's its own thing. Like, I'm sick of all of these applications are all just becoming clones of each other. It's just, do you want the Google version or the Apple version? Do you want the Microsoft version or the Apple version? You know, it's becoming insane, in all honesty.
The Clone Wars.
Yeah, it is. And so I completely agree with this point. Whether or not their statement that says we are inventing new paradigms that are better than the status quo, that is a subjective statement that we can agree with. Because I think that their quote better is a horrible nightmare. I think their UI is horrid, personally. And I've given it every shot. I have spent the time to learn the shortcuts, all these types of things. I worked inside of it for a long period of time. I don't find it better. I find it different. And I can agree on the objective portion of their statement that they're not just copying what the competition does. They are inventing new paradigms. Whether or not they're better, we can agree or disagree, or agree to disagree on those. Thoughts?
I find it very difficult to use GNOME as well, especially for gaming or multitasking, because it consumes too much of your screen real estate.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the whole idea that you click on an icon and it just throws up a bunch of other ones in front of your face to pick from is kind of a little difficult to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you got multiple screens. You know, Cinnamon does a really good job of handling multiple screens with games. If your game starts and it's not on the screen you want to play on, you just right click on it and it says, pops up, move to other screen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the game, and it'll boom, move it over. It may
Mm-hmm.
not like it and fight with it and everything else, but eventually it takes.
Yeah.
But, you know, as far as GNOME goes, you know, maybe some laptops could use it. There's a lot of upfront learning. I think GNOME is very keyboard driven.
Yeah. Yeah, it
You
is, for
know,
sure.
so you've got a learning curve there just in order to get your stuff to run.
Yeah, I mean, even though learning the keyboard shortcuts, it was still harder to navigate with things. See, do I have a desktop view over here? I guess what desktop is it showing? So this is my Cinnamon desktop view here, which is a little bit of a mess right now with the stream. I have my Jitsi preview up here. I have my comment feed going over here, the article here, the main Jitsi windows over here. But the thing is that I can go in and pull up anything here quickly on the bottom. This isn't an outdated old thing. And this is also why I hate the modern trend of just using the little, just the little pinned tiles, because it's annoying. This, I can see what's open. I can see what it is. Especially, you can see I have two instances of Chromium open. In this case, one instance is the actual streaming deck. The other one's the comments. But I can very clearly see which one's which. I don't have to hover over one of these, wait for two windows to pop up, and then try and decipher which one I need to click, which I find completely annoying. This is why I like Cinnamon, and specifically this layout. Even the new Cinnamon is doing away with this, which is annoying, although you can set it in Linux Mint with the push of a button. But that's the thing is, yeah, it is harder to use. Sure, I could use the keyboard shortcuts and, hold my, Control Alt and the arrow keys and move to whatever application. But when you got like 15 applications open, that becomes a more encumbering of a task than putting your mouse to the bottom of the screen and clicking once. Let's see. We're moving through this a little too slowly. As a general rule, start from the user experience you want, and then go about building the technology necessary to create it, not the other way around. However, this is not an excuse for bad engineering or pursuing ideas that are conceptually impossible, like multi-protocol chat clients. Okay. I think they've probably done a good job on that, right? Starting from the user experience they want. Again, we can agree or disagree if that's the user experience we want, but each one goes about it, and then they go about building the technology to create it. Okay, that's fine. Defer to the expert. Everyone has different areas of expertise, such as user experience, security, accessibility, performance, localization. Listen to the people most experienced in a given domain. Okay. Although that kind of does conflict with, was it up here? If you're not contributing on a design team, developing affinity for design will make you more effective of a contributor. Well, I thought we were supposed to defer to the experts.
Yeah. More tongue twisting.
So I'm wondering if this is just a lot of feel good stuff, or if this is really something true. I don't know. Design is all about trade-offs. Beware of hard and fast rules that only look at one part of a problem. Vertical space is a premium, therefore, and instead of trying to balance various concerns, okay, yeah.
This sounds like they're trying to explain themselves in some kind of fashion.
Maybe. Yeah, I could probably see that. In practice. Actually, let's catch up on some comments real quick. Let's see. All sucks except for that. I agree with that. All right. I'm not sure what you were talking about at the time, or what we were talking about at the time. Does it mean that if I put an extension on GNOME, it'll make me a hacker? I think we will read that in the in practice part. Maybe. Greetings, Spin Viking. How's it going there?
You're a certified black hat.
Ooh. Well, I'm a certified black hat right here. GNOME does want people to contribute upstream so they can reject it like they are renowned for. Excuse me, you're too white. You can't contribute to the code. Eek. Adapting ideas to originality is how you can do it if you can't make it entirely original, to be honest, though. Thoughts on Pantheon? Not a fan, honestly. Once again, no test. I'm like,
Pantheon comes with Solus, don't it?
No, it's elementary.
Elementary.
I think you might be able to get Pantheon on Solus now, but it's from the elementary team. It's
deep and it comes with Solus.
Well, Solus is Bungie. Is their
Budgie? That's the one I was.
They have
trying to
Bungie.
find.
They have Mate,
Thank you.
GNOME, and Plasma. There's a fourth.
Budgie.
Budgie's their primary, but they have three other ones.
Budgie's really nice on Solus.
Yeah. So like between Pantheon and GNOME, at least GNOME has extensions. Pantheon's like, you will do exactly what we say. Period.
Yep. That's because they got a basket weave together to stay together.
Mm-hmm.
They did the black hat hacking.
Yeah, they are taking the opposite approach that GNOME did, where they're like, let's rip everything out, but allow some extensibility. Pantheon's is like, we have to put this together so tight we can't allow anybody to mess with it, or the whole thing will come crashing down. Everyone lost the game. And I've installed some GNOME apps on my distro, mostly games. Last update, they broke, and you removed them. GNOME is going to be touch divides driven. Why not focusing on simplicity? I've installed GNOME apps on my distro, mostly games. How's it going there, man? You broke, and you removed them. Yeah, we're actually getting some feedback from Mark now. All right. But just jump in when you... How's it going there? All right.
Can't hear you yet. I gotta turn on
we can hear you, so please...
Rolski.
Yep.
I'm a Rolski.
Yeah, we got you. I'm going to mute you.
Hang on.
I'm going to mute you until you can figure out your audio. All right. All right. When you get it all figured out, unmute yourself. Let's see. GNOME is an oddity, even in touch, though. Every touch interface but GNOME has minimization in it. All right, let's see. Windows 10 tablet mode has minimizing. iOS, Android have minimizing technically, being on the home screen. Even Posh has minimizing, yes. Hello, not Gary. Greetings. All right, Mark, did you figure yourself out yet? Oh, figure yourself out. jump on in and say hello. We're going to move back down to in practice. In practice, some of the above principles are quite abstract, you think. So what do they translate to actually building software day to day? Here are some examples. App developers should do their own packaging. It's the only way to do it sustainably and at scale. I completely abhorrently disagree with this. The distro maintainer should at least have a hand in this. The reason is if the app developers are doing their own packaging, we will have a mass proliferation of malware in Linux.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
Yeah, that would be the problem with Snapcraft going, whoa, we're going to stop trusting the app and trust the developer instead. I don't want to trust the developer.
And next thing you know, you get an Audacity.
Yeah. But with that, Flatpak is the future of app distribution. Flatpak is okay. It's certainly better than Snap, maybe better than AppImage. I still tend to prefer the distribution maintained packages, though. Perfectly honest. Traditional desktop is dead, just like the password, and it's not coming back. I'm sorry, you're wrong. You're wrong. Because go ahead, Dan.
That's what I was trying to say earlier is, they're taking a wind off of Windows 11 and the way they set their new desktop up. And there's a lot of heat about it because you can't move it. It doesn't go to the top or the side. And there's no right click for any settings or anything in it that they have released so far. And they're thinking because Windows has ditched their traditional panel at the bottom and now has, their thing in the middle, that all that Windows 95 era stuff is history. Well, it isn't. A lot of us still use it in Linux in different forms.
Yeah. So let's chat about what they're talking about. So they're talking here, the whole statement, they say, note, I'm not talking about Windows. Note, I'm talking about Windows 95 era UI patterns, not desktop versus mobile. Instead of trying to bring back old concepts like menu bars or status icons, invent something better from first principles. So the status icons that right now, when I booted up my computer, I can see if I have an internet connection, I can see if my volume is working, and I can see if I have updates. You're telling me that that's a bad thing, outdated, and doesn't work anymore?
Exactly.
I'm sorry. I don't want to have to kick something on to realize, oh, the audio's not working because I didn't see a status notification.
Like on my panel, I can tell if there's an update I need to go look at. I can tell if I have a notification. I can tell how many drives I have mounted.
Here's a thought. I can see right now without looking over here that OBS is still recording because I have a little icon at the bottom of the screen telling me the status of OBS. If it stops recording, it goes to yellow or something. But here's the thing. They're trying to project. They don't like the desktop for whatever reason. They want to project everybody. The desktop's dead. And then here's the peons. Oh, desktop's dead. Oh, the desktop must be dead. The desktop is dead, guys. You don't have desktop is dead? No, it's not dead. Now, there is the people. Hold on, Mark. We'll get you on there in a second. Like Pizza says, people in that generation they like it better because it more matches the cell phones and the tablets and stuff. But the problem is the cell phones and tablets you cannot use for multitasking. You cannot use it for more complex tasks. This is what the desktop is for, and you need to have that desktop. Go ahead, Mark. You're still muted, by the way, but go ahead.
Yeah, let me unmute. Okay. Yep. So on the just to keep things moving along, because I know we can't backtrack. I think it's absolutely absurd. There was only two things in this entire article that I agreed with, and those have been mentioned, and Tom also agrees, which is we really do think a lot alike. For better or for worse, that's not a bad thing. The traditional desktop is alive and well in other DEs. That's why you have things like Cinnamon and you have things like XFCE still. A lot of people still use XFCE. And I tell you what, it's a really logical desktop environment, and I like it a lot myself. MX Linux uses XFCE by default and stylizes it, and people love MX Linux, so there's still a demand for it as far as users. Toast has used Ubuntu Mate for years and years and years, and Ubuntu Mate doesn't get a lot of love, but it used to be a very popular operating system. If the world only had GNOME, that'd be a kind of sad day for Linux, wouldn't it? It's just ridiculous. I agree with Tom that when Windows used X11 and come out with initially, I think it wasn't Windows 3.1, but I believe it was Windows 95 or Windows 98 era. They nailed it. They got the desktop paradigm down. Everyone was able to use it, pick it up, and got used to it quickly. As a matter of fact, I think Windows 10 has gone backwards. So I do think they should be picking on Windows 10 because, like I've said, the start menu is a mess.
Yeah, has it gone backwards? I mean, Windows 10, I hate the start menu. I hate that I can't customize it. But other than that, I haven't really seen that Windows 10 is really that bad from a UI standpoint.
It's bad because I'm having to make 2, 3, and 4 clicks to get to something that should be a single click and would be in Linux. So it makes a difference when it gets annoying. Maybe, and I know that may sound incredibly lazy, but it's not, because it means if you don't have to do that, it's more intuitive and logical typically. For them to bury everything under setting after setting is ridiculous. And they always did that to an extent. But Windows 10 feels like it's even worse.
Yeah, I mean, I see Windows 11 is dumping a lot of the desktop. I just don't see Windows 10 basic UI as a radical departure. I mean, the menu is, but other than the menu, you can still add the quick launch bar. You can still do a lot of the things.
Well,
I mean,
from what I understand from other YouTubers, Windows 11, you go back to the old the old Windows desktop. There's some settings you can change, but they left it in there. All you have to do is do some hacking.
Okay.
It's the worst start menu I have ever seen in my life. It's that bad. It is terrible. They ought to be slapped.
DT did a video a couple of days ago where he actually took KDE Plasma and made it look exactly like Windows 11.
Oh my God, why would you do that?
just for entertainment.
Windows 7 or Windows 10, did you say?
Windows 11.
Oh. Yeah, I remember. I actually saw that one. I thought that was pretty unique, yeah.
His point is what they have done is nothing new.
Exactly. I mean, Linux has had it for... that's one big reason why people come into Linux is the ability to customize and set it up, tailor it toward your preferences of where you like stuff to be and accessible. And that matters a lot when you're using a computer for your work all day, every day.
Yeah, let's jump in, and I upped my microphone. Thanks, Blackworm, saying my microphone's a little low, and still working with some of the all the setups. How's that? That should be a little bit better. It should match better. So the next one, system-wide theming is broken. If you don't like the way apps look, contribute them directly. I thought we were supposed to defer to the experts.
Yeah.
And what do you mean? Like, the theming is broken, so you fix it. What? Shell extensions are always going to be a niche thing. If you want to have real impact, your time is better invested working on apps. In other words, don't work on the shell extensions. Work on the applications. A niche thing? No.
It works like a niche thing too.
The problem is people have to creep adding these extensions because you're breaking your desktop.
If it was so niche, why did Pop OS design their desktop around using the extensions, and then they come out with another one called Cuttlefish or something? What's it called? that
Yeah, but
specifically
they
is
custom
designed.
built those to actually work together properly.
They catered that toward people that didn't like vanilla gnome, did they not?
Yeah, in a
So
way, and I think Pop OS is definitely moving in the right direction.
yeah,
Well, they have to because they sell notebook computers and it's all got a mesh.
Yeah, they might be better if just gone with like cinnamon or something. Filling available space is rarely a good goal by itself. An easy way to design yourself into a corner.
I think Pop OS is an excellent distro. I think Fedora is an excellent distro, but
Yeah.
you know, I've used GNOME for months now, and I like GNOME. I'm not saying I hate it. I don't hate it. I find it very intuitive. It is very much in your face. You're gonna see that in a minute, so I'll shut up.
Yeah. Sleepy Eyes Vince is on the chat. How's it going, Sleepy? No, microphone is better. People are saying good. Yeah, it's readjusting everything, moving around too much. Maybe I
tried to tell you were quiet at the beginning.
Oh, sorry, I wasn't listening.
How was my?
I didn't hear you.
Your audio. I mean, it may be a little quiet.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing, Mark. You hear me.
Bad.
You hear me through a different microphone than the stream hears me. So. You know what you're hearing isn't
better.
always the best. Yeah.
I actually have a browser open with the stream, and I can turn the audio on and listen to the stream.
Yeah. People are saying it sounds a lot better now. So thank you guys. Maybe eventually we'll get it to the point where people who've never watched a video of mine will stop leaving me unsolicited advice about how to grow the channel. I got a chuckle out of that comment yesterday.
Those people, I just want to choke people today.
It's fine. He just stumbled upon it.
No,
yesterday,
it's not that.
No, Mark.
Everything.
Yesterday's video,
in general.
Yesterday's video looked terrible, and it probably sounded terrible. I mean, to be perfectly honest, because there were a lot of other factors into it. I actually only put one light out instead of I should be running two. Yeah, the 4M one. I don't know if it sounded
I enjoyed
bad.
it. It was fine.
Oh, it was a fine content-wise. It just it
was watchable. I enjoyed it. Quit beating yourself up.
I'm going to beat myself up. I thought it was horrible. Like, the lighting was horrible. I don't know about the sound. The lighting was horrible.
It was a little dark. So what? It was a video.
I was in my bunker, hidden away. Yeah, so anyway.
You live and you learn.
Dang, YouTube videos come up every 5 seconds.
I know.
I had uBlock installed, but I uninstalled it. But
yeah,
the FBA, Amazon, shut up! Your crap doesn't work.
Filling
$10 a month. Stop lying.
Filling the available space is rarely a good goal by itself. Does any other desktop environment just seek to fill empty space? That seems like that defeats the purpose of a desktop, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's
the desktop is supposed to be a tool to launch. The desktop is supposed to be a tool to launch all your software,
and I got news for you. My Cinnamon takes the exact same desktop real estate as your GNOME. It's just my Cinnamon is infinitely more productive.
They do not. They don't want a desktop. They don't want you even looking at a wallpaper.
So all this, I mean, this was what their philosophy was. We're not here to just kind of bash them and hate GNOME. I don't hate the GNOME project. I think it's fine.
I just hate the people.
It's for the people. It's for the people who want it. I love that there's options, and that's what I want.
On a really good note, we got a lot of other desktops that actually came out of GNOME, so we should be thankful for those as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. So
like Budgie.
Let's see. Let's catch up on comments. GNOME 40 is best for using a touchpad at the moment. All right. Philosophy on tech. There you go. That's going to be argued. Being a home screen, being on a different workspace, but differently the meaning of a window being minimized fits the situation better. Yeah, I don't want to have things on different workspaces. I want to have things minimized because I can get to them faster.
Yeah.
But that's a personal preference. That is a personal preference.
I got used to using the workspaces personally, and that's one thing that drew me to GNOME. I thought it was really logical how you would have I still think it's really cool, even today, that you can separate like your task out into different workspaces, so that I find myself multitasking more than I did when I was in Cinnamon. Because even when I had Windows minimized and stuff, it got a little unclear what was minimized and what wasn't, you know, and what was open and what wasn't, or do I need to open this app again?
Salbu's here. How's it going, Salbu?
Hey, Soulboo.
Before we dive into the rest of the comments and wrap up, I am returning to the Christian streams tonight at 9 p.m. So 1 hour from now. I'll drop that in the link, or you can check on the channel if you're not aware. I do a Christian stream on Thursdays. It's been off for about a month as I've been getting out of the one place into the other place and doing camps and conferences. But we are returning tonight, 9 o'clock, 1 hour from now. Anyway, let's see. Flat Hub is best. Have you tried it? Yes, I have indeed tried it. Are there any good Audacity alternatives out there yet? There are a few we looked at. I haven't looked at them, but a few I've heard of.
Adore is another Linux open source audio editor that's in the repos.
Ardor? I thought that was more like LMMS, like a.
Yeah,
I don't think it's.
I haven't tried it yet, but it's listed as an alternative when I search for alternatives.
Yeah, I'm not sure it is, because I think that's more of a drum kit more than a wave editor. But I don't know. I've not actually successfully tried it out. So let me know. Jack, the desktop is totally dead, guys. Now use my desktop environment. Yeah.
Well, I'm on a quest to become an independent recording artist, so I'm going to be using some of that stuff. No lie.
Use look at LMMS, my friend who does music production. That's the one he loves the most. Good, available as an app image, Flatpak, repositories, whatever. Sure, you can argue that modern generations are using phones, so we should replace desktop environment for like mobile UI. What comes to like stuff with kids, you can argue like Chromebooks looks like desktop and mobile hybrid, but is it as productive? And that's the question.
Yeah, I noticed with phone apps, let's say you take a picture of something and you want to do something, you need to download 3 different phone apps to actually crop your picture, focus it, and retint it and everything else to get it the way you like it. Where you just need one piece of software on a PC to do all that.
Yeah. Salbu, you there?
Yeah.
All right. How's it going?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. I was in a 3-hour phone conversation and completely forgot the time.
That's fine. Yes. Farron reminds us, yes, Quick Launch exists as a folder, Windows 7 to 10 to be added as a toolbar. That's exactly what I do. Absolutely. Because that's what I like. So the record, you shouldn't even bother using Windows 10 taskbar hack. System tray is basically gone from the taskbar now. All right. Okay. Let's see, like Microsoft saying that no other desktop does Windows tiling. What? What are you talking about? What do you think about GNOME politically speaking? I don't follow enough of the politics of GNOME to know for sure. Other than seeing what their code of conduct is, they're going to lose their minds if they follow.
Have they beaten their patent troll?
I have no idea.
The news on that just kind of dried up.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think they did beat patent troll.
Partisan, I don't think it's going to be different. Let's see. Is that a green screen behind me? No, that is actually that's a carpet. That's a pine tree. So that's green, but I don't think it's going to work. No, actually the green screen is up there. It comes down and becomes unfolded throughout.
Yeah.
Let's see. I like how the audio sounds now. Good. I'll try and remember these settings. Linux Mint will change their website and are asking people to help them with UI design. Ooh, nice. That ice came from the belt. Yeah.
The only policy debacle that happened with GNOME was Linus Torvalds, I think it's 10 years ago, when he blew up on some changes that they did, and he said that if a policy is that to remove features because people find it confusing, If you make an idiot-proof system, then only idiots would use it. He said that was 10 years ago, and he has moderated himself since then.
Yeah, but you get to a point with an idiot where it's idiot proof, so it becomes boring.
Yeah, that was his point. They removed a few features that he used, and he was very satisfied with how they worked. And they removed it because 2 users reported that they find it they didn't understand how to use it. So instead of making it clear, they removed it altogether, and and he blew up.
Sleepy Eyes Vince is trying to mold his mind around the gnome philosophy. All right.
Let me mold.
We found
your
a few
mind.
inconsistencies, so let me know if your brain explodes. Let's see. Zoran and Fedora customized the GNOME shell extensions to make it workable. Tenacity is a pretty good fork of Audacity, so look at Tenacity. Need extensions to make GNOME better proves that it's not good. I mean, I think there's a logical argument can be made for that. Maybe Canonical will change GNOME for other interface in the future. Probably not.
Sleepy Eyes. Here's the thing: Sleepy Eyes is actually trying to understand where they're coming from.
Yeah.
Most end users are going to say, "Nah, that's crap." You know, they're not going to care. That's another aspect of it. You know,
Well,
all this vague, open-ended speech. You need to be more clear.
yeah. That's the thing to think about is seeking to understand how and why it works well is really the key. This is why I tempered down a little bit my criticism of GNOME after taking the time to learn how to use the shortcuts to use it how they say it should be used. I've done that. It's fine to use. It's just it's not for me. It's not productive, and for a number of reasons that a lot of people tend to agree with. And so with that, when
they contradict themselves from one point to the next, that's not helping your argument.
So we have gotten through all of the we've gotten through the article, we've gotten through the comments, and since I have a stream coming up in 50 minutes now, we're going to go ahead and end this one here. I'm going to paste the link for the new stream in here if anybody wants to jump on over. We're talking about John 15. How does God treat his obedient followers? If anybody's interested in that, jump on over to that channel. We will be back tomorrow, of course, with the weekly news roundup at 9 p.m. Eastern.
Oh, yeah. Fire.
So there's the just posted the link for that live stream. Anybody have final words? I'll give everybody your final words. Salbu, we're on you already, so. You're muted though, Salbu. You're still muted, Salbu. Salbu's muted. There you are.
Live long and prosper.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I was
that's Bob. I knew that.
Yeah, I was typing an email and I didn't want the keyboard to feed back into.
I love it.
All right, Mark, final words.
I'm not even a Star Trek guy. I knew that. I would just say use whatever desktop works for you. And if somebody doesn't like it, that's fine. If you'll find like-minded people that like the same desktop environment you do and agree with you on a lot of things, and then you'll find other desktops that work better for other people doing different things. The beauty of Linux is that we have freedom of choice.
Absolutely. There you go. And Dan.
I think this GNOME paper that they put out kind of explains the direction they want to go and how they want to do things and what they really are feeling. It kind of is a list of ideas and goals and paths and things that they are thinking about. And that's all it really is. And, if you're a GNOME user and you like it, more power to you. I hope you divest with it.
Thank you.
Everybody with Linux, everybody has a choice of what they want to use and what works best for them. And that's the Linux community. That's the Linux experience. So keep it going.
Absolutely. There you go. All right, guys. Thanks for watching tonight. 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is 50 minutes for the next stream, which is linked here in the comments. And tomorrow, 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time for the weekly news roundup. We will see you guys then.
And I don't want